Okay, we're back. Our chocolate is almost melted, almost completely melted. It still hasn't come up to temperature, but it continues. We'll heat that, as I said, to 120 degrees Fahrenheit, 50 degrees Celsius. So, a couple of things to talk about before we start making chocolate bars. We're going to make a plain chocolate bar, and that's the purest essence of the cacao. We can taste all of the fruitiness, all of the characteristics of the cocoa bean. And so we're going to make a plain bar, but we're also going to make some included bars. Because most of the innovation that you see happening today around bars really involves what you add to the chocolate, the inclusions. And so what I've prepared is I've roasted about 4 types of nuts, and I'm not going to demonstrate nut roasting because it's the actual process is very similar to what we do with cocoa beans. You weigh out 100 grams, 500 grams, however much or whatever quantity of nuts you want to work with. But the heating is quite different. Nuts roast much quicker. We roast nuts at a higher temperature and faster. And so, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to talk Celsius because I haven't made the conversions. But for almonds, I roast almonds in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And I roast them for 10 minutes. After 5 minutes, I get in and I shake them, stir them around, close the oven up, and then 10 minutes, I take them out. I do the same thing. I weigh them. I want to know how much moisture came off because that gives me an idea of the degree of roast. And then I quench them. I spread them out in a tray and let them cool. So I've roasted these. These are California almonds, and they have the skins on. I also have some Turkish almonds. Quite a bit different in flavor, actually. Almonds differ around the world. These are with the skins off. And I roasted these a little bit gentler. I roasted them at 325 degrees for 12 minutes. I've got hazelnuts. Hazelnuts are fabulous with chocolate. Unfortunately, in the United States, we don't have the habit of mixing chocolate and hazelnuts, although Nutella the chocolate hazelnut spread is becoming more popular. But we really don't make included bars with hazelnuts. It's just not popular. Americans prefer either almonds or peanuts. But these are Turkish hazelnuts. I roast them exactly like I do the Turkish almonds, 325 degrees Fahrenheit for 12 minutes. And another a good nut to combine with chocolate is pistachios. So these are again Turkish pistachios. The Turks produce fabulous nuts, and the aroma. I roasted these on Sunday, and the aroma coming off is just fantastic. It's delicious. You can see that the pistachios, the same thing. They're very small, so you have to be careful roasting them because they burn easily. But I roasted these at 325. I started looking at them at about 6 minutes and took them out 8-9 minutes. But the aroma is fantastic. So those are nuts. We can also there's also very popular to add dried fruits to chocolate. And I have here on my cutting board some dried cherries. And cherries are really delicious. Cherries go well with nuts. I don't use them with hazelnuts, but I use them with almonds. And they also combine well with pistachios. I'm not going to take them out of the bag, but these are dried bananas. They actually, I break them up into little pieces, mix them in with chocolate. They're very good. Apricots or Damascus. They as well are, now there's 2 types. They're both from Turkey, but these have been, the color has been preserved by adding sulfites. And in my opinion, the flavor is not so good. So The only thing is they're a beautiful color. They look really good with chocolate. They combine very well with chocolate. You can either chop them up and mix them in with the chocolate or just dip them into the chocolate. It's very nice as well. The true Turkish Damascus or apricots are very dark if they've not been processed with sulfites, but they taste delicious. Raisins. These are yellow raisins. You can add dark raisins or yellow raisins. They go very well. Classic fruit and nut bar is a combination of almonds and raisins. That's usually in a milk chocolate. I don't like them so much in a dark chocolate because they don't really have the oomph. And these are kiwis and freeze-dried kiwis. I also have dried ginger, and that is really fabulous with dark chocolate. The spiciness of the ginger really combines well with the chocolate bar and gives a very good effect. So, while our chocolate continues to melt, I'm going to prepare the inclusions, and I'm going to use these California almonds. Just going to eyeball it for the time being, and the cherries. And what we've got to do is chop them up. We can actually add them direct. What I'll do sometimes is I'll put them individually into a mold. I'll just put an almond and a cherry in a mold, but usually not a bar mold. I'll do some bonbon molds, smaller piece molds, and just add the almond and the cherry directly to the mold. When we get ready, we'll demonstrate that. But these are for bars, and I'm going to mix it directly into the chocolate. So I really want to chop it up, but I don't want to chop it too much. And that's one of the beautiful things about working at home and working by hand, is we can put really coarse nuts, big pieces of nuts in the bar, because we don't have to worry about a depositor, a nozzle, which industrially they use depositors, and those depositors need to have very small pieces. So the commercial included bars that you buy, the nut pieces are really small, and I'm not a big fan of that. What I really like is when you get a big piece of the nut mixed in with the chocolate. So again, I really am just chopping each nut in a half, at the most in thirds. And those are my almonds. And I'm going to mix them with these dried cherries. And I also chop the cherries up a little bit. Doesn't have to be too much, but I do chop them up. Because, oops. I chopped them, again, not too much, just enough to make them, they blend in a little better with the chocolate. Actually, in a chocolate bar, it doesn't really, a chocolate bar doesn't really matter. They can be whole in the chocolate bar, but what happens then is you get the bar has a very rough back. All right, so I'm going to put these in here. Whoops. And we're just going to let these sit until we're ready to make our chocolate bar. Now let's check the temperature of the chocolate. Let me just move this over here. And what I'm going to use, look at this spatula. This is a fabulous spatula. It has the thermometer inside the spatula, if you can see that. And if you can get your hands on one of these things, they really make tempering chocolate and working with chocolate really easy. So it turns on. Excuse me. And that's in Fahrenheit. It has Fahrenheit and Celsius. It's also good. But it's fantastic because you just put it in the chocolate. And it automatically reads out the temperature. So you can see exactly the temperature you're working at. And it really makes hand tempering chocolate much, much easier. So they're about $16. Not too much money at all. And I ordered them on Amazon. I really don't know who makes it actually, but they're really fabulous. And it comes with a little screwdriver so you can change the battery. But the batteries last pretty long. This battery's lasted since last April. All right, so I've been working with it a year, and the battery's still good. So we're at almost the right temperature. All right, so I'm going to stop now and start back up again when we're at the right temperature, and we can begin the tempering process.